a good gut check is this an ego move or is this a really good idea,
Yeah,
long term?
Yeah.
I agree. And I think it took me a few years, to be honest, to get to the point of learning to listen to myself, because I used to make decisions, because I felt that was the right move, the right thing to do, without knowing or having some feeling that this may not be the best move. And what I truly believe now that I've been practicing listening to myself is that when you say no, you make room for the yeses, right?
That's right.
100%.
100%. Welcome to another episode of Shop Talk by No. It's Sarah Binkin-Fishy, your founder and CEO for No, and I'm super excited to be here with two amazing female founders, some of my favorite people. They're crushing it at life and in career, and today we're talking about no risk, no reward. So ladies, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Let's jump right in. Let's talk about it. No risk, no reward. What does that mean to you?
The first thing that comes to mind for me, I come from the corporate world. So for me, that was a big risk trying to transition from that. But I knew that I was meant for more. I had a vision that I wanted to own my time and my freedom. And that meant that I could only achieve that through business ownership. So for me, was making that risk of acquiring my first business. And it's been very rewarding. And now I get to help other clients do the same.
I love that. Because it's true. No risk, no reward.
Right.
What about you, Callie?
Oh my gosh, there's so many lessons in life. So many times people say that, right? And I think for me, in all the businesses I'd owned, I was selling something else, but never selling myself. And I had to make a decision. I had sold one. I had gotten bought out with one. Had to close one, and I thought, oh, I'll just go work for somebody. That's easier, right? It's okay, no risk. I'll be fine. And I started interviewing with these people, and I was like, I can't do it.
There's no way.
There's no way.
Unemployable.
I
That's
literally
me.
was
Right.
unemployable. And I said to my husband, can I start another business? And he's like, I knew that was coming. But I said, I have to. I know there's something bigger out there, and I'm willing to take the risk on myself. And here we are, 15 times the business and over the last, 5-7 years.
Heck
I knew, but it's harder to sell yourself than it is sell anything else.
That's right. That is right. I love that. So I want to ask both of you, what is the riskiest decision that you've made in your entire career? So you can go back to like corporate business 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the most riskiest decision that you made that everyone or anyone said, don't do it. Don't do it. But you did it and it paid off.
Going all in.
Going all in.
And I think that applies to everything in my career, but I can think specifically of multiple times when I did that, because I felt it in my heart that if I didn't go all in, I wouldn't see the results, right? So it was, again, taking that risk, investing in myself, because I knew that there would be a huge result on the end. And that meant risking a lot of investment, right, into personal growth, into being part of big communities. But I knew that being around that room and around those people, then that would help elevate myself as well, right? So it's just taking those decisions, and you might not see the results right away, but eventually you do. And I'm just so happy that I took that risk.
Amazing.
Between third and fourth, the business, or fourth and fifth.
Between business number 3, 4, and 5. Okay, what was it?
I think when you close a business because you don't have the right tools, it's not the right time, it doesn't fit your life anymore, you have to really evaluate, like, oh, can I do this again? Yeah. Like, I'm just not sure I'm built for this. You have all those, that self-doubt, all that stuff. And like I said, I kept trying to, fit in this hole, and I couldn't do it. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to take the biggest. And so we invested a lot I got my certification in project management, and I went all in, and here we are almost 10 years later.
I love that.
Yeah. And
I think like the biggest risk is probably like risking it again when it didn't work the first time,
Yeah.
right? Or the third time or the whatever. And just like
Yeah.
keeping going and going and going
Yes.
and going. A lot of what I love about when we talk about taking risks, entrepreneurs are known to take risks. I mean, that's what we do every day. We wouldn't be who we are and as successful as we are. But there's this distinguished like or distinction that I want to make. And that is we take calculated risks. So let's just like talk a little bit about calculated risk. We're not jumping off bridges with no parachutes, right? I mean, like we're literally, because I think a lot of people who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs or they think, oh, the business life is so sexy. I want to be a business owner. Like we make it look good because of those calculated risks that we 9 times out of 10 are pretty sure they're going to work out, but it feels risky, right? It feels risky, especially to like onlookers. Let's talk a little bit about calculated risks.
I mean, as the first thing that comes to mind is what I see every day in my business and with the clients that I help is starting a business from scratch can be a very risky move. And the calculated risk is acquiring a business,
Mm,
right? There's, 1 out of 5 new startups fail within the first year. And the ones that do make it, only 30% of those survive past the 10 years.
right.
So making those decisions of like you want to be a business owner, but why start from scratch? Acquire a business that already has implemented cash flow, that already has systems
That's a
and,
great
and
calculated risk.
procedure, right? So that's a great way to get into it right now. We're in the midst of the biggest transition of wealth in history with baby boomers retiring for the next 10 years or so,
Yeah.
right? It is estimated for there to be at least $15 trillion of wealth being transferred
Isn't that
from
crazy?
baby boomers to the new generation. So this is just an amazing time, to take that risk that's calculated,
Mm-hmm.
get into business ownership, and prepare yourself with the right tools and education to be able to take on an opportunity when it presents itself.
I think you
Oh
just
my
like hit
gosh.
the nail on the head when you said so a calculated risk is having education,
Yes,
some research, some understanding
right.
of what you're doing. You're not like blindly
No,
leaping in to something, right? It's
correct.
like knowing that there is without risk, there is no reward, but like risking it all. And you said betting on yourself, like betting it all, like
Yes,
putting it all in. But you had like some inkling that, like, if not me, then who? Right? Like
right.
you knew that there was a chance that you were going to work as hard as you could. You were going to put yourself into the right rooms. You were going to like get all the proper education that was necessary. So you were able to take a calculated risk on yourself, right?
Right.
What about you? Is there like a big calculator risk that you took?
I think knowing, that you could buy businesses, had I known that 20 years ago, I might not have started 4 or 5 of them.
Right. Right.
But you don't know that when
Right.
you're first out of college, and starting your first business. You
Yeah.
don't know that there's this whole thing. Maybe the second or third business, right? I would have sold for more. I would have not had to close because knowing that you could just buy one. And knowing that now what I know and what I teach clients is systems, and you have to have
Okay.
systems. You have to delegate. It is impossible to
Mm-hmm.
scale
Mm-hmm.
without those two things,
Mm-hmm.
with or burning out,
Right.
one or the other.
That's right.
And so now I know better. But in your 20s and early 30s, when you don't know any better and you don't have a friend that says, "Hey, guess what? You can actually buy something
Right.
that has the systems in place, that
Yeah.
has the employees in place." That's way better
That's
Yeah.
right.
than just well,
That's
I'm just going to keep
right.
starting from scratch.
Yeah, you have the tools, education, you do your due diligence, and then you make the decision.
I think like okay, so moving away from just buying a business because there's risk we're taking every day, right? There's and especially in our own businesses. How do you tell the difference between the calculated risk and a reckless ego move? Like is there a gut check that happens where you're like do don't do, or are you like what are the tools and processes that you work through when you're going to make a big move that feels a little scary?
Oh, constant gut check.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of intuition training and
Mhm.
on purpose because I have to know that and reaching out to coaches and making and your spouse who's also my business partner in 2
Yeah,
businesses, like have the community to
utilizing your
lean
tools.
on, utilizing the tools to decide, like before you just, "Oh, I'm just going to do it because whatever, I want the
Go.
feather in my
Yeah.
cap
Yeah.
or
Right.
whatever."
Right.
No, we really need to ask all the questions and ask yourself. That's good. A good gut check is this an ego move, or is this a really good idea,
Yeah.
long
Yeah,
term?
Yeah.
I agree. And I think it took me a few years, to be honest,
Mm.
to get to the point of learning to listen to myself,
Mm-hmm.
because I used to make decisions, because I felt that that was the right move, the right thing to
Mm.
do, without knowing or having some, feeling that this might not be the best move, and then things would end up not working out exactly how I had envisioned it. Not that I would want it to work exactly, but
Yeah.
like it wouldn't result with
Right.
what the goal was, right? So um I listen to myself from big decisions to small decisions. I'm learning to be very intuitive with myself and just being connected into, this doesn't feel right, so don't do it. It's okay to say no to this. It's okay to.
Mm-hmm.
And what I truly believe now that I've been practicing listening to myself is that when you say no, you make room for the yeses, right?
That's right.
100%.
Yes.
100%. Oh my gosh. And what I'm hearing, and this has like sort of been this theme and all the conversations I'm having, is like intuition is a big chunk of it.
Right.
It's not just strategy. And I think that women, we have this gift of intuition, of feeling and knowing. And when you take that and you combine it with, strategy and data and research, like it's a win-win for us as women, because not everyone, taps into that. And I love that you also said, like, I have good classical training and
Yes.
like knowing how my and I think that's something we acquire over time
Yeah.
too, right?
Mhm.
And so I love that. Does the fear of risk ever go away?
No.
No.
You just get better at dancing with it? Yeah.
Yes.
What are some things that you maybe someone's listening? What are some things that maybe you're like, they're faced with the decision, a left or right, right? Left or right, and they just don't know what to do. What are some quick tips that you could share with someone who's maybe listening? Like, what do I do?
You talk about intuition, and one of the really cool tools that I tell everybody that I learned is close your eyes, think of something that is a absolute yes to you. What does it do to your body?
Mm,
Mm.
My whole body gets chills when I think of something that's like your child and the love you have for your child. That's like an absolute yes,
yeah.
right? And so what does it do to your body? What's the no? Then what does that do to your body? So now I have every question I say, close
Yeah.
my eyes, is it a yes or a no? Based on
You have a
my
measure.
bodily reaction, I know.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
that's like
love
a
that.
great tool.
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, for me, I visualize a lot.
Okay.
So when I think of a big decision, it has to be something that I've already envisioned, right? If I don't see it clearly how that would work out, then it might mean that I don't see, I might not fully believe in it, or I might just not be ready for it, right? So
Yeah.
I love seeing that vision of, okay, if I take this decision and I you know whatever that is, do I see it clearly? And so what does it take to get to that point? And
Yes.
then I work backwards. And you really have to have it in you, and the drive and the work that it's going to take to get to that point. If not, it's a risk that wasn't worth taking,
That's it. You have to put the work behind it.
right?
That's like point.
It's not like
Plain and
visualizing
simple.
it's magically going to
That's right.
happen, right? It's I
That's right.
see it right there, but I have to work
You
for
have
it.
to step into it and to do it
Yes.
for sure. If you could go back to your day one, like the very beginning of you entering into career or making big decisions for yourself, right? Think back to that time. And I want you to think and what would you whisper to yourself now if you were like, Kelly, just fucking go for it. Kelly, check the dot, dot, dot. What is the one thing that you would say to yourself back to like the early days before
So
all
many
those million businesses that you open?
so many things, so many things. um Believe in yourself. You get, I think, knocked down as a teenager, right? Even in middle school, you
Yeah.
know how mean girls are.
Yeah.
And you get knocked down, knocked down, knocked down. And I opened my first business right out of college. So it was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this. And I had to, like, earn it. But if I surrounded myself with people smarter than me, if I delegated immediately,
Yeah.
and I took care of myself, it would have been a whole different
A
ball
different
game.
different
Whole
situation.
different ball game.
Yeah.
I love that. What about you, Leilani?
I would say also believe in yourself. It's all going to work out, and it's okay to reinvent yourself. Because when I think back, I had to make a conscious decision to reinvent myself because I my child who I was in my childhood and who I was labeled to be a quiet shy girl, and you grow up believing that.
Mhm.
And when I went to college, it was like my first opportunity for me that I clearly saw this is the time to reinvent myself. And I feel like that was the decision that completed or that changed, my career, the beginning of my
I
career.
love that.
And just believing that I truly believe you're under no obligation to be the same person you were
You're not ever
before.
meant to be.
Right.
You're not
Mhm.
meant to be because we're always changing.
Right.
I love this. Thank you so much for being here and like shedding light into no risk, no reward. And I think we can all
Yes.
agree that like there is no risk without reward.
Agree.
Thanks, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you.